Well, let's better known around this here studio as Friday Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Get through today, spending a good part of it, whether you're working or not, planning the weekend's events. That's the beginning of the weekend. And of course, this is one of those weekends, y'all. It's one of those 3-day weekends that starts 3.5 days earlier. Not only is there the traditional Saturday and Sunday, which follow a half day on Friday, that's the standard operating procedure, wrapping up on Monday with Memorial Day. This weekend is traditionally thought to be the beginning of summer, more realistically, the beginning of the summer season. And if you're from around these parts or anywhere around the coast, it's the beginning of the beach season. Public schools will be taking a break in about a week or two, and the summer vacation season will be off and running. We got a lot of beginnings of things that begin around Memorial Day. Good morning, I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Chris Marks.
I'm Lee Barrows.
And Kelly is out. She should be returning, we think, maybe tomorrow?
Maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
okay. And if not, it'll be next Tuesday. But,
Monday.
I think she's gone on Monday. Isn't she scheduled for a trip? I don't know. We'll talk. Thank you all for joining us for another
Kelly.
edition of Live and Local Real Talk, where we talk about all sorts of stuff, and pretty much everybody. We talk about them too, where guests join us by telephone and in some cases in person. We can legitimately claim that we have listeners from coast to coast. How about that? And we appreciate y'all, all y'all. We like hearing from you, and you're but a phone call away. 910-333-0139. That's the number to call anytime you want, between 7 and 9. And please don't think you need to think like we think. That would be scary, number one, and boring, because then we wouldn't be so special. Tomorrow, we'll talk a little bit more about the real meaning behind Memorial Day and what it's all about. It's a lot more than hot dogs mixed in with sand, salt water, watermelons, things like that. There's a lot more to this Memorial Day than all of that sort of good stuff.
Agree.
Got a local story going to kick off with this morning. Told you about a runaway 14-year-old girl earlier this week. Alerts went out, and there was an air of genuine concern, especially with the police. Luckily, Jacksonville police detectives located the girl about 9 o'clock Tuesday evening, and she was safe. During the investigation, detectives came across communications the 14-year-old was having with a man. The 14-year-old was having with a man, a 26-year-old man named Troy Swenson. The young teen was in Swenson's apartment when she was located. Per the telephone app the girl was using, at Swenson's directions, they met at one location, and police say he then took her to his apartment on Charleston Lane here in Jacksonville. Swenson is now in the county detention center without benefit of bond. He's currently charged with second-degree kidnapping. Why? She went there willingly. Well, that's applicable when a person removes someone under 16 years of age from one place to another without the parent's permission for the purpose of committing a felony. Additional charges are being filed against Swenson as the investigation continues. There are going to be lots of charges probably. If you, by any chance, have any information about this specific crime or this specific person or any other similar cases, you are urged to contact the Jacksonville PD's Detective Division. You can reach Detective McKnight, and he's handling this case directly. You can call him at 910-938-6414. I know you didn't get that number for fast. 910-938-6414. You can also send him an email at B as in Bravo, McKnight, M-C-K-N-I-G-H-T, B, M-C-K-N-I-G-H-T at jacksonvillenc.gov. If you prefer to remain anonymous, you don't want to talk about it with anybody, you don't want to have to go to court, you don't want people knocking on your door and asking you questions and questions and questions. I don't have a problem with that personally, but it's okay. You can call Crime Stoppers. That's what they're there for, to make sure that information gets to the cops, to the investigators, whatever agency is involved. They do that. You don't have to give your name. They can't take you to court. They can't even take that information to court directly. It can be supportive information, but they can use that to launch an investigation or to further this investigation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. Yes.
Okay. You can call Crime Stoppers 910-938-3273. Do yourself a favor. You just never know when you're going to need that number. Put that one in your telephone.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of junk crap in your telephone. You got numbers for every pizza place in town in your telephone. It's okay. Put one under Crime Stoppers, all right? 910-938-3273. 910-938-3273. When the urge strikes you and you suddenly think of something or you know something, you see something, guess what? Ring them up.
I have 2 numbers for Crime
You do.
Stoppers in mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's one was a board member.
Well,
I know
actually 3 if I
Double.
count you.
Double your troubles.
If you kill me.
910-938-3273. The intended victim in this case is Lucky. She's 14 years
Amen.
old.
Mhm.
Amen.
I don't know at this point in her life how lucky that she knows how lucky she is right
Yeah.
now.
I do
All right.
have, of course, I'm not a judge, and I don't know.
This mess could have gone sideways. We
Right.
remind you that this man has not had his day in court, and we only know one side of the story.
That's right.
Until we hear otherwise from a jury of his peers, he is considered to be innocent.
I still think the bond was too low, but I don't
What
know.
bond?
Yeah, bail.
He is not under bail.
It said last night $30,000.
Okay, well then changed it because the release I got from the Jacksonville Police Department said he's in jail without benefit of bond.
Okay, good to know that JPD said that. I trust that more than the news story that came out. But the
It could be.
news story came out last night. Of course, I'm just saying that's what I saw.
Second degree kidnapping is a serious offense.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll stay on top of this one.
Yes.
Yeah, well, there was one story I read that she had left her phone behind
Yep.
when she went missing.
Well,
That didn't
she's
really-
seen a lot of TV and she
Yeah.
knows they can be traced.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, we'll find out more about that. It was just like I'm trying to find that story because I
Yeah.
don't know what because I was like 30,000,
Well, the guy has no record,
right?
no criminal record at all, but in North Carolina at least. I've already looked, as you know I would. So you've got to take all of that into account. What kind of a flight risk is he? Does he own a home? No, he's got an apartment.
Yeah.
Well, there's one additional reason. Does he have a car? I don't know. Likely. How long has he been a member of this community? I don't know. Would you like to check to see if he's a registered voter in this county?
I understand that he's with the U.S. Marine Corps and
Uh-huh.
stationed here.
So, you take all of that into account. Now,
Yep.
if he's a member of the Marine Corps and he absconds, you know what?
Oh,
They don't even have to get to seek any assistance to go get you.
no.
Very
And
true.
you don't even have to be charged with a crime.
Very
They'll
true.
send chasers after you. And they can do whatever they want at that point in time. So there's an incentive not to go running too. And even if he makes bond, the chances of him being free to roam the area as long as he's still in the Marine Corps, that's 0 to 0. But we'll see. Anyway, that's what's going on with that case. I'm glad it ended up that she's not hurt. I'm glad it ended up she's rescued. I hope that she, her friends, and anybody else who pays any attention to this story, especially mama and daddy, grandparents, point this out. This could have gone sideways so bad.
Oh, absolutely.
So bad.
I found the news story, and I'm not going to mention what station it was.
Doesn't matter.
But it said
They quoted
Swinson.
somebody.
Yeah, Swinson was jailed on a $30,000 bond, and if released, he cannot have any contact with the victim. That's why I was saying 30,000.
Well, it's again, is he a flight risk? That's the only thing. He's got no criminal history. Is he a flight risk? So,
So he basically,
I have a feeling there may be more charges that.
well, he has already got a couple of charges. And
Yeah.
that may have been a charge, not the
Second
second.
degree kidnapping, soliciting child by computer, indecent liberties with a child, and contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile.
Mhm. No.
Wow.
He initially was jailed without
Dumb.
benefit of bond, so I don't know whether that's the case now or not, but that's the last information I got from an official source.
Yes, yours is more official than probably.
Well, it
where I'm reading
it could have been updated, and we haven't got the update yet. Well, we'll find out.
good chance he's
Let's
raised his $3,000, isn't he?
10%. He might be able to do that. And I don't know what his rank is, but
Yeah.
let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
And
He's in
parents
trouble.
and grandparents, we've got history in this community of a case with two 15-year-olds, and we don't need to harp on it too much, but they ended up dead. Okay, and all they were done, they were offered a ride in a van while they were walking by a man who had his 15-year-old stepdaughter riding with him. You don't. Children, please. Parents, please tell your folks don't. Your kids, your nieces, your nephews, because there are real weird sicko people out there too. Boys are not safe, and they're not safe for women predators either. Got it?
Right. Absolutely.
We
correct.
have we don't have a lot of it that comes to light around here. We generally head it off at the pass, but it does happen, and it can happen. And the finest of communities to the finest of families.
Something similar, although they weren't teenagers. We talk about the illegal immigrants and stuff. So I remember back to the Gasperson case.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was horrible.
Yes.
And
Horrible.
they were from some South American
Yeah.
area.
Not here.
And no. And well, they got back here to be tried. But that it just, when you mentioned Marcus Schrader, the Scott Gasperson case always comes
Yes.
back to mind. That was just
Mhm.
so horrible.
That was in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
They were weren't they killed execution style?
Yes.
I believe it was.
Yes,
Yes,
they-
that was a horrible story.
They kept
Horrible.
the wife at the house.
Yeah.
And then made Scott go to his business and take stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
killed along the way. But
Back
So-
in the 70s, again, there was a Walt's Jewelers over there in the New
Mhm.
River Shopping Center,
Yeah.
bustling, thriving place. And a couple of guys entered his home and held his wife hostage while he went to get the stuff. They, luckily, they were lucky.
Yeah.
All they lost was the property.
Well, we had a Stop and Shop robbery last
Yeah.
night in Hubert. You have
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
A what?
A Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
Stop and Rob. Stop and Rob shop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call a lot of those places.
Oh,
Used to,
okay.
particularly in
Convenience
Wilmington,
store.
used to be a convenience store was hit by. That was a weird case.
It was the Beast Mart
That's
gas
what got
station.
me right up front. It was
Yes.
the Beast Mart. I said, all I saw was a little clipping on the top of the news. Beast Mart. What?
The Beast Mart gas station
Yeah.
and convenience store at 566 Sandridge Road in Hubert.
Oh,
Entered the store, jumped over the counter, and took an unknown amount of cash.
Just jumped over,
Just jumped over.
grabbed the cash and took off.
Yes.
driving here this morning, something came. I gotta mention
Stop
it.
and
Yeah.
rob.
I gotta mention it. Early in the week, they mentioned these two guys that were robbing banks, Kinston and some other couple other areas.
We haven't had one around here lately.
No,
Wood.
knock on it.
Yeah.
And
Chief, I'm sorry.
I was actually in one
Sheriff,
yesterday.
sorry.
you want to talk about the epitome of stupidity of crooks. So you're wearing a mask in there, you're robbing a bank and stuff like that. Then you go and post selfies of yourself with the money in a car. Well, they got him, by the way.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen that dumb crooks?
all
Take
the guys in
selfies.
Wilmington, the guy walks in and he writes a note and he leaves the note there. Give me all your money. It was on the back of one of his deposit slips from another bank. Really? Really? So the police go to his bank and he's there to put the money in the bank. Why did he stole a specific amount of money? It was enough to make his car payment because they're going to repo it. I kid you not.
Didn't need it after that.
Whoops.
I got transportation.
That is craziness.
Then the idiot who took a cab to rob the bank on Carolina Beach Road there. I forgot the name of it. It keeps changing.
I do have.
And he robbed the bank.
Oh my
Got back in
gosh.
the cab and they took off. The people in the bank. He got into a cab. Well, they called the police and the police told the police he left in a yellow cab. Yada yada. Well, the police said, okay, let me call the cab company. They called the cab company. He said, yeah, I just dropped that guy off at such a place, such and such a place for lunch at Carolina Beach. Well, duh.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Are you enjoying your last lunch?
You better hurry up. But they still got dessert waiting for you down at the jailhouse. Hurry, hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, we have vanilla or chocolate. Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, that was the time when Carolina Beach police just went over and arrested a guy for robbing a bank in Wilmington, 20 miles away. Like, really? That was a lot of work had to be done. It wasn't it, boys?
You just brought to mind. I watched those two newest videos last night that Legata posted. I'm just like,
we're going to get him in here one
I
day.
just
Spend
wanna-
the day just to let's make some notes of some of these things and bring them up and talk to him about it. Because he's got opinions about them, of course. And my Lord of mercy.
it makes my blood boil. I like that one and Cello that we talked about yesterday. That was the frauditor's name that just followed the cop up and down the stairs in the courthouse and kept on and on and on.
Some people slip when they do things like that. Have you ever noticed?
Well, you know what? If
From
I
the top of the stairs.
even followed her into the elevator, first of all,
that would be a smart thing.
I wouldn't have let him do it. Well, that's true.
Oh, no, I would have let him do it. And then it's my story versus yours.
Well, he was recording her the whole time,
Oh,
but
that
it all
that
started.
wouldn't even be available.
She's a sergeant, so I would think she's got
Ruh-roh.
some expertise at what she does. But she was walking down the hallway, and he walked up and said, "Can I ask you a question?" She said, "What's that?" He said, "What's the Third Amendment? What's the Third Amendment of the Constitution?" Even I had to sit and I'm like, because we put so much emphasis on other amendments like the
It's
first,
your
the
right to
second.
continue living by asking me stupid questions.
No,
What's next?
It is
Like,
your
get out of my
right
sight.
to not house soldiers during a non-war time if the government tells you have to. It's something to do with that. I was just like, what? And because she didn't know off the top of her head, I mean,
Of course, leave volunteers. So, all the Marines you want, make them between 21 and 27.
not happening. Not happening. Not happening. Not unless they want to mow the yard and
Well, that too.
Do the
They gotta be
housework.
able-bodied now. They got to be able to mow the lawn, and if one of them happens to be a cook, that's okay too.
most
Bring 'em
definitely come on in.
They clean up after themselves. They're trained, right? Okay, yeah,
Right.
he can stay.
Wash the truck, all these things that I need to have done between today and tomorrow. So,
You know what I find interesting, because you said the Third Amendment, right?
right.
One
What does it exactly
senator
say?
was asking one of the Trump cabinet, habeas corpus.
Yeah. What does it mean?
What's it mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
We hear it on TV all the time. What is habeas corpus?
Well, let me tell you what the one thing at a time. The Third Amendment prohibits the quartering of soldiers in a citizen's home without consent in peacetime and by law in wartime. So I had a third of it right.
For our dog Jake, I have to do quartering all the time because the food comes in a can. I have to cut it into quarters because he gets a quarter of it per meal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quartering, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Do we quarter our military? That would be awful. Bad punishment.
Ooh.
Quartering them.
Habeas corpus.
Drawn and quartered. You've heard that before, right?
A writ requiring a person under arrest to be brought before a judge or into court, especially to secure the person's release unless lawful grounds are shown for their detention.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Has to be within a reasonable period of time.
this senator was talking about deportation and things and what habeas. corpus means. But it was interesting. Before that, they showed Marco Rubio answering a senator, and the chairman kept saying, "No, you're out of order. You had your time. You had your 7 minutes. Let Mr. Rubio continue to talk about." And he was talking about some of the wasteful spending.
There's a word
Mercy.
that popped up in my head, Scary, in the wee morning hours today again. And the word that popped up was deflection. And I was thinking about it when we have some callers who will call in. Well, what about Trump? Yada, yada, yada. When we happen to be talking about some other, well, what about Trump? Or what about Biden? Or what about this? It's deflection. Deflection happens all the time. You see it on the Senate floor, you see it in the House, you see it everywhere when politicians or wannabes get together and they say, well, what about, no, I'm not talking about that. But I want to talk about that. You talk about that on your own time. I'm talking about this particular event, set of circumstances, and don't come in here trying to deflect me. I mean, Lee, you can start talking about, what was it you were talking about just a second ago? What was the habeas corpus?
Yes.
Well, wait a minute. How about, give me another Latin term. Got another Latin term? Anything? Give me one. You got something? Corpus delicti. I don't know what that means.
Kyrie eleison.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
Corpus dialecti.
But
Sounds like a disease.
that would be doing nothing but deflecting from habeas corpus. We're discussing habeas corpus, and by just, well, what about corpus delicti?
Body of the crime.
Yeah. So it means nothing. It's called deflection. I don't know why that came up in the middle of the night, but it's certainly apropos right now, isn't it?
Well, when I think of deflection, I think of political people that we voted in politically. Deflection. Because after a while, some of them, they'll get up there and news media will ask them a question and they deflect.
Always. It happens all the time. If they talk around a subject without addressing the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's the definition of political.
Oh, yeah.
Political, right, by the way. All right, looking first at the marine forecast today. Looks like we have about 50,000 of them around these parts, and that makes us proud.
Seashells?
No, the marine forecast. We got 50,000 Marines here. The weather forecast for those Marines and the rest of us shows cooler and drier high pressure building through the rest of the week. And that's good. Small craft advisory will be in effect from this afternoon through this evening. Northwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming southwesterly 20 to 25 with gusts up to 30 knots this afternoon. It's going to be not so pretty. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop, becoming rough later this afternoon. Tomorrow, westerly winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Saturday, northerly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming westerly in the afternoon. 2 to 3 foot seas. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. A fairly decent weekend.
Okay, today sunny with a high near 85. West wind 6 to 15 miles per hour with gust as high as 26. Tonight mostly clear with a low around 58. Friday sunny with a high near 79. Saturday sunny with a high near 79. And Sunday mostly sunny with a high near 81. Beautiful weekend.
It is.
So I'm behind the cashier, working as a cashier down in Tie-Dye Marine one day, and had several people in line. I was waiting on one customer and several people waiting to pay. Good guys, fishermen or boaters or whatever, or a combo. And this lady comes in with the phone up to her ear. Okay, hold on. She said, do you have marine batteries? I says, no, ma'am. We have nothing but Navy batteries here. And she said, oh, they don't have any marine batteries. And I said, wait a minute. And the people in line were cracking up.
That's not right. That's just like sending somebody in to buy blinker fluid.
And that that is something that so many men do, husbands especially, who are, they don't want to, they may not know that much about boating and they don't want to show it. So they send their wife in as to be the gullible one, right? Everybody will forgive her. No, that's just not right, gentlemen. Either explain to her what you need, or if you just wanted to run a mission, or you do it yourself.
Like you wouldn't do it?
Oh, I wouldn't do it. No, absolutely not. My wife will, if I ask her to go get
Well,
something.
your wife's too smart for that. But I'm just
Are
saying.
you trying to say this wife was not that way?
I'm just saying that
Oh.
no, Robbie's she's the smart one in the family.
Oh, absolutely.
She's the brains.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell her that all the time because she makes me.
I need to ask you two a question.
Okay, go ahead.
And then this is out to everybody listening in this morning to chime in. Do you carry cash?
No,
Do I carry cash?
You don't.
I
do.
probably have. I have. Usually, I have to go get it out of the bank and put it in my wallet. I on a normal day, I don't have cash on me.
Okay, he's loaded. So
$6.
the reason I was asking, I was at a meeting last night and we were talking.
$9 and some coins.
I don't know.
Now you better hold that.
All right.
Lunch later. We were talking about charity events and things that are going on, and that people don't carry cash anymore.
They don't.
No, I agree.
It's all those cards, but and they're all apps now. I'm
What?
apps?
Yes.
Mine, I don't have apps. Not for my, you mean for me to go somewhere and spend something?
Yeah.
Not on my phone.
Yeah. So you want to go to a charity event
Mhm.
and they have the little whatever, and you tap your card and
Oh yeah,
It's
I've
a-
got that with
yeah.
my card. But my sister, like, she has these Apple apps that she can walk into. Like, we're going to Target, and she has the Target app,
Mhm.
and she just takes her phone and goes ding right there on the little payment box, and that's all she has to do, and it takes it straight
Hey,
out
can I
of
borrow
her
your phone
account.
for a minute?
No, I said she did, not me.
I was going to ask her next time I say her, can I borrow your phone for a minute? I'll be right back.
I would just be. I'm just curious how many people listening don't carry cash. I carry cash. Now, I'm not setting myself up to be robbed.
Yeah.
It's not that much. Maybe a couple more dollars than
Now
you
I'm
have,
curious, do
Well,
I
listen,
have
if I go ahead and tell you that in my wallet that I've got $20,000, which I carry, right? It's a normal thing. Would that be baiting the idiots out there? But that'd be like hunting over a baited
Well,
field.
yeah.
Because
well,
that's just not right, isn't it?
I don't have 20. I don't have 10. I don't have 5. I don't
Now
have
I'm
one,
curious.
but
I have to see that.
I just it was just that we were having a conversation about an event coming up
I
and
do
asking.
have money.
got-
You see,
She's got a $5 bill.
Five.
women always have money.
No,
Yeah,
6, 7, 8, 9. Oh,
That's
and
what I
some
had.
change. Really?
Look at you two.
Mine was exactly $9, 5
Yeah.
and 4 ones, and so whatever coins that I have in my
Yeah, I have some
pocket.
coins
Lord of
too,
mercy.
which usually I don't have. God,
So if you
Chris,
give me that, I could have almost $20.
I'm sorry to bring it
you
up.
made me feel rich today. Okay.
Well, I'm glad, but so when you go to a charities and you want to, they've got coin boxes or
Right.
whatever done it. You want to make a donation. How do you make a donation with a card?
Well, that's
Salvation Army, the bucket.
Ah.
I always have cash for that.
Oh,
I go into Sam's because that's where I
Yes.
shop a lot, and during the Christmas season, year round, I go in there, do my thing, and I come out, but I always carry cash to have for them.
Yeah.
I do not get change. I do not want any cash back from my card when I go inside.
right.
I just don't do that. But I will take whatever. I always carry some cash for donation.
Well,
Or for a soft drink if I get thirsty somewhere, instead of pulling my card out for a 49-cent soft drink
they're not 49 cents anymore.
per ounce.
Yeah.
They're like $49.
Oh, well,
You know, you have to use your card. Yeah. Things have gotten so easy for us all. If you think back to the day when you were growing up, you had to go outside and turn the antenna to get the channel you wanted. You had to actually go to the bank to cash your
You had a
check,
TV.
to put money in it. To put money in the bank, you
I'm
actually had to
dyslexic.
take a paper check
Oh,
to the bank, let them put it in your account, and then get cash out of it. When you went to the A&P, you had to grind your
Tried
own
to say
coffee.
ABC store.
Yeah,
you know
I-
that.
that's the
was-
alphabet store.
She had that in her mind.
I mean,
But go
you
ahead.
think about it. It when you mowed the yard, you had to push mow, and when you wanted to make a phone call, you had a phone at home, or you went to a phone booth. think about.
Yeah, you had to carry a nickel.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Or you went to go get a Pepsi out of the Pepsi machine. It was a quarter.
Quarter.
You know,
And you opened the door. You opened the door and pulled the bottle out.
And then
Remember that?
it slips and you cut your fingers on your thumb.
Or you pop open the top and push a button and get a free Pepsi. We
What?
might have done.
What?
Yeah, the Pepsi man taught us that in
You
the
do
trailer
what?
park where we grew up.
What did you do?
He showed us how to lift the top to the machine and hit this button, and we would get a free Pepsi. The Pepsi man taught us that.
Huh.
How could it be wrong?
Statute of limitations have expired.
I'm sure
And
he's
then
dead
we
by
go
now.
up-
So
Then we go up to the Rambler place and get a pack of peanuts.
now remember, he's right down the street
I
here.
know, for a
He can-
nickel or
He
so.
can still press charges.
Then open that pack of peanuts and pour it in our Pepsi.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah, never doing that.
Why
As kids.
did you put peanuts in a Pepsi or a Coke or wherever you put it?
What's
what was
wrong
the
with you? It's a Southern thing.
What was the purpose of that?
It was
Did it
good
make the peanuts taste better? No.
because you had that salt right there contradicting with the sugar from the Pepsi. It was good.
Just take a bite of the peanuts and then take a swig of Pepsi.
That's too easy.
I didn't want that stuff just suddenly because, first of all, I don't know if that's not a foreign matter that was already in there at the bottom of that Pepsi. Have you ever opened a Pepsi or a Coke or
Don't
something?
ruin people's Pepsis
Have you
today.
ever done that and there was
Oh.
a cigarette butt in the bottom? They got lodged and didn't get clean. They don't
What?
recycle those bottles, so you're all
Yeah,
right.
okay.
But in the days, I remember one time I opened it, took a swig. Oh, good God! And there was a cigarette butt in the bottom of it.
Did you
I
sue?
could have been rich today, couldn't
I was
I?
going to say,
Yeah.
why didn't you sue? Everybody sues nowadays.
You would have more than $9 on you
Can
right
I
now.
can I do retroactive suing?
Sure. Why not?
Who would I sue?
I mean, actually, if you think about it, they do. Sean
Back in-
Combs.
1971, I spilled a hot coffee on my lap.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling I'm suddenly having flashbacks, and I'm having some issues, and that probably caused that my heart condition.
Tom says peanuts belong in an RC Cola.
It's ROC
Yep.
Cola,
We used to do that with the RC Cola.
ROC Cola, and a moon pie.
Oh, moon pies.
Uh,
Where do they still make them? I need a
They
box
do.
of moon pies.
Yes,
they do, but they make them small now.
They're bite size.
Bite size.
What?
They're bite size.
What is wrong with people?
Yeah, I know.
Bite-sized moon pies?
Because they shrink it and they charge you more. It's just like the
Well,
bags of chips.
that's on
It's
everything.
It's like bikinis. The smaller they are, the more expensive they are.
Did you notice, like during COVID and during the panic and all that, and then during inflation, grocery prices are going up, and some of your manufacturers are trying to keep the cost down. But what you don't realize is that box of cereal is probably about 3 ounces lighter than it used to be.
Well, there.
Oh,
Check
it's
it. There's
just-
extra room in it now. They don't change the boxes.
No,
That's too expensive to repurpose the box
Right.
production.
you're
But
just
they
getting
can
a little.
reduce the quantity of stuff in it. Not a problem.
I
Tater
went to-
chips are down to 3 per bag.
Yeah, those airy potato chips. The bag is all air. Of course, they have to be, a lot of air in to keep the potatoes from getting crushed. But it's so disappointing that after you open that bag, you're just like, maybe I should have bought 2 bags to equal 1 bag.
Must be-
When you start breaking the potato chips in quarters,
One for you, one for
so you
me.
can savor one little quarter at a time of wood chip. I mean, chips, you can't eat just one. You're right. You got to break them in quarters. Ugh.
No, and I'm not picking on any petroleum station here in Jacksonville, Alto County, but
you leave that up to me.
okay, I'll let
pick
you
on
do
my
it. But I just every holiday,
Oh, yes.
and you're listening to news, local news or national news. Gas
Right.
prices are down. Gas prices are, except here, they go up.
Well, I signed up for one of the gas stations here, and for the next 5 fill ups, I get 25 cents
Yep.
off per gallon.
Yeah. I've
So-
got 73 names that I'm using for that.
Hey,
Every time one expires, I just do another.
just so you know, it's not
Just
under my
kidding.
number.
Oh, okay.
Don't be putting my number in there.
I don't got a lot of numbers I could use. Other
Mhm.
people's. What difference does it make? I went to Wilmington yesterday, and cheapest gas I saw was $2.89 a gallon. Now,
That's
Sunday I
more than
filled up
here.
in Swansboro for $2.69 a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Go
Yeah,
Swansboro.
which was cheaper than the lowest gas that we had in
I
Jacksonville.
was just going to say, that's
So that's the
pretty
reason I
cheap.
stopped and filled up. I said, whoa, I got to fill up anyway. I better grab it while I can. I don't know what it is today, but it was $2.69 on Sunday at 4 different places as I passed by.
Well, I learned to always fill up before the holiday begins.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
don't do it
Before.
the weekend of.
No.
Oh
uh-uh.
no. And if you're going to a beach community, figure at least 10 cents per gallon more of whatever the base price is anywhere else before you get to the beach.
I had to go to Morehead City. This was last summer for a meeting or something. And I realized that I should have stopped and got gas.
Mhm.
And so, well, I'll get someone to get into Swansboro. It was really expensive there at the time. So then, well, let me go into Cape Carteret. There's lots of stations there. It was even more expensive.
Yeah. Well, you go
So you're
closer
right.
to the bridge.
Closer to the beach, the bridge there, gas prices go up.
Uh-huh.
And it's like you said, it's probably for all those tourists coming in, the beachgoers.
I mean, they do it. They do it at the golf courses too.
Yeah.
I mean, the golf courses along the beaches, they
It's
jack
Charlie.
them up $20, $30.
And just so you know, Rayford, Chris Miller will be calling in at 7:45. So
Miller time.
yes,
Well,
Charlie's got about
Charlie either hung
Few minutes.
up or phone died, something, whatever.
There's
Oh,
some
okay.
connection problems between California, the West Coast and East Coast.
Yeah, it's the East-West battle of the wits, battle of the phones. In Louisiana, as it is in North Carolina, the elected sheriff of every parish there, we have counties here, has the responsibility of making sure inmates are secured and they can't get out. 10 of the inmates managed, with the help of a jail employee, however, to get out last week in New Orleans. 5 have been recaptured. Sheriff Susan Hudson, a Democrat, is coming under fire from members of the Democrat Party. They want her to take a hike. They want her to step down and walk away. Besides the hideous green glasses in her wardrobe, the Democrat leadership
Told you.
are not the only ones who want her removed. That call has been going up ever since the escape, especially after the escape was not discovered for many hours into the day after. Well, it might resolve itself. In the middle of her election campaign, this high sheriff has suspended all public effort to seek another term. The word is suspended. Pay attention. Pretty sure the DNC won't accept that as an answer. She can claim she's not going to campaign, but that doesn't mean others won't continue the re-election efforts for her.
Mhm.
And after all this blows over, it usually takes about 2 weeks, she could announce that, hey, guess what? I'm back. I'm back into the race, and please vote for me. Look, I recaptured those bums. I got them. They're back in custody right now. And we fired the guy. We arrested him and fired him, the guy who cut him loose. I took care of the problem. Hey, Charlie, how are you?
That she created.
Mm.
Hello?
Charlie.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
got you loud and clear. Go ahead.
So there's a guesstimate. There's an approximate 68 million people in England, and out of those 68 million people, approximately, maybe it's off by 1 million or 2 million. 4 million of those individuals are Muslims. And that's wonderful. You got to respect every religion, whether it's Jewish, whether it's Baptist, whether
I agree.
Irish, whatever they are. But it's interesting. Out of those 4 million Muslims, the mayor of Leeds is a Muslim. The mayor of Blackburn is a Muslim. The mayor of Sheffield is a Muslim. The mayor of
They're taking
Oxford
over.
is a Muslim.
They're taking
What's
over.
that?
They're taking over.
Well, I'm okay. First of all, you got to be very careful because the internet lasts forever. They're allowed to take over, but I don't get it. Out of 4 million of 68 million, why aren't other people getting out to vote? Do they just get lazy and just say, listen, it's not going to affect our lives? Or because first of all, I don't know the history of the Muslim religion, but in my opinion, as a white person that's been white most of my life, I think I'm sure it's a beautiful religion, but I think it's an extremist religion.
You mean
I
like
think
the
behind
Catholics?
closed doors. Yeah, no, but I think behind closed doors that if you don't follow, and I'm not sure if Sharia law is under the Muslim religion. Do you guys know what Sharia law is?
Yes. It is,
I-
yes,
but I-
it is a law that certain members of the Muslim faith follow.
Well, yeah, but I think it's a very, I think it's a very sick, it's a scary,
It's a restrictive,
religion.
it's a series of very restrictive laws, and that if you do not abide by those laws, you'll be banished.
Yeah, I just Googled it and it just says Sharia law, Muslim guidance on how to live according to their Islamic principles.
Correct?
But it's like London is falling. But I don't get it. It's like, why are these individuals sacrificing, their religion or their faith or, whatever they believe in, and just saying, let's try this whole Muslim thing out. Here's my reality. Like I said, I don't want to sound like an ignorant, racist white person, but I believe in my heart of hearts. And the internet lasts forever, so this comment is going to last forever. I do believe that most Muslims are extremists. And extremists is, and if you don't follow, you don't abide by all of their laws and their religions, you serve no purpose to them. They want nothing to do with you. They're not going to be open to you. They're not going to welcome you into their home. They're going to lock their doors, and they're going to basically say, listen, go ahead and drown. We want nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. So with that, like I said, the internet lives forever. So maybe I'm wrong. So I'll just leave it at that.
I know I can see where you're coming from, because if you just look at the facts and figures that you're talking about, yes, you've got the mayors of this, and this. It seemingly would be that there are a lot of members of the Muslim faith that are being elected. Now, yes, they are far outnumbered in England by other members of the other faiths, right? Probably Catholics would be up there close to number one, right? In England,
yeah,
I would think.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. But that doesn't mean that all Catholics are going to vote for a Catholic, or that they will be not voting for a Muslim. And maybe the Muslim forget the faith for just a moment, and think that maybe this person has something to offer that others are not offering. At least that's what they're saying when they're running for office. And let's go back to John Kennedy in 1960. One of the big detractors for John Kennedy, oh my God, he's Catholic. Mm-hmm. He was the first Catholic to be elected in this country as president. But whoa, he's Catholic. I remember as a boy hearing that discussion.
Oh, yeah.
He's Catholic. Oh, God, we can't have a Catholic as president. Oh, my God. Can't do that. Have we had a member of the Jewish faith as our president yet? We've had Southern Baptists. Have we had
off the top of
you
my
can't
head, I
think
can't.
so, can you?
No,
I didn't think so. I don't know of one.
No.
Okay.
So
here's the last thing I'm going to say. I obviously, I need to better educate myself. I don't know the history of Sharia law. I'm not sure if it goes back 4 days or 14,000 years. But my gut says basically that women are second-class citizens. I think when it comes to the gay community, they're going to throw you off a building. I think it comes to controlling their people. I think it comes from basically not just accepting humans as humans. You're going to basically accept our way or there's no way. And, maybe I'm wrong. I just think it's bizarre. Like I said, they're controlling England, but I don't get why aren't the people getting out and voting? Oh, by the way, there's one last thing, and I don't have the facts to back it up. I was looking at all the votes that Joe Biden won, Barack Biden won, and Donald Trump won. I think Barack Obama won like 61 million votes. Think about this. Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Yep. Do you really believe that 81 million people got out? No. You can say, Charlie, you're a conspiracy theorist. I don't think that Joe Biden was more popular than Barack Obama. I think they're going to come maybe 20, 30 years from now. That election was a complete farce. Everything about it was they're going to figure out that the polls, the people that ran that computer system, I think this, maybe. It doesn't make any sense. 81 million people voted for this guy.
Well,
Anyway, maybe I'm wrong.
you got a point, and I understand where you're coming from, but I want to look at it. Here's the way I'm going to look at that election in the year 2020. There was Donald Trump. He was not liked by a lot of people. A lot of people figured that he did not do what they thought he was going to do when he was elected in 2016. They were disappointed. There was so much anti-Trump. Tell me, was there any positive material coming out of the media other than Fox News at any time from 2016 through the election process in 2020? Was there any positive news about anything positive that Donald Trump had done? I can't think of any other than from Fox News, and Fox News was beleaguered as well. So the masses, the voters, we the people, we were being led by a mainstream media that pretty much demonized Donald Trump and held up Joe Biden as the great savior. That's the way that went down, in my opinion.
Another time.
Hey, I'm going to leave you guys with this when it comes to Donald Trump.
Okay.
I like Donald Trump, but in my opinion, he's way, way, way too liberal for me. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, Lord of mercy. All right. Thank you, Charlie. Have a good one. It is now Miller time, and as soon as the little light over there on the wall goes a ringy dingy dingy dingy,
Yes.
Pop it top.
pop it up
He
again.
was
Up
probably
top.
waiting for Charlie.
Ringy
to
dingy,
finish
ringy
up.
dingy. Who was
There he
that?
is,
Who was
right
that?
there.
Who said ringy dingy?
Lily Tomlin.
Lily Tomlin. Ronan Martin.
That's right.
And
Laughing.
Rowan Martin's laughing, and her character on that show was. What did her
she snort?
character do?
Yeah.
You do that too. What was the occupation of her character?
She was a
the
telephone operator.
Switchboard operator,
Yes.
telephone operator. You're right. Absolutely. Good morning. Ding, 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 ding. Hey, Chris, how are you? It's Miller time.
Chris, help.
Good morning, my friends. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Hope you are too.
We're just full of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an interesting show as always, and appreciate all the hard work and good job that all y'all do. And great seeing my friend Chris Marks over there. He is a radio guy.
Oh, he's
Thank you, Chris. I love this guy. Going back to announcing, and Chris was there, and he just gave me this look when I went. And in the house tonight is Chris Miller with the Jacksonville Daily News. There's Chris over there. Give him a round of applause. People need to know he was there.
Yes,
and
they do.
The face behind the man that writes such wonderful sports stories.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Well, I appreciate that. But every time Mr. Marks did that, instead of cheering, everybody would boo.
They didn't.
Not true.
I know.
Not true.
Well, when the TV people came, and he said, "Oh, well, there's so and so from channel, local TV station." They would bow down and all hail TV guys, all hail TV guys.
There's been such a for decades and decades and decades. There's been this rivalry between television and the print media. It's not warranted, but there seems to be that. And Chris, help me out here. Is it because from the media side? Remember, I got an iron in all sides because I work newspaper, radio, TV. I work for the wire services. I mean, I've done a bunch. I spread myself thin sometimes. But is it because the media guys, they would get the attention because people recognize them from their days on TV? Is there some inherent jealousy there? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but is there some feeling among newspaper people that that's the way it goes down?
Well, no, I don't think it's jealousy. Because at the end of the day, I think the work speaks for itself. And what makes me feel good is talking to a high school kid who may never be interviewed again, and seeing what that means for that young lady or that young gentleman to be interviewed about scoring the game-winning goal or whatever, and
Sure.
or a kid come up and say, "Hey, Mr. Chris, Mr. Miller, thanks for interviewing me after the game. I enjoyed that because it means something to them.
It certainly does.
Giving them
And,
their
I don't-
moment.
The applause and the I don't really look for that. I look for the serve the community and everything. And and again, it's all in fun and it's all we're all just having fun here. But it's I think from a newspaper standpoint, and Rayford, I'm not talking to you because you did a great job, and but it's I joke you not. There have been times when I will cover a sporting event. So I will cover a sporting event, or a certain team or a certain school 3, 4 times, 5 times, and you don't get it. You don't hear anything. Okay, well, maybe they're reading, maybe they're not. But the certain TV people come in for 5 minutes and then tap themselves on the back because they all of a sudden remembered that
It's there. That rivalry is there.
Well,
Jacksonville High School existed. Oh, let's cover them and let's pat ourselves on the back for 5 minutes, and then, but they didn't know about the game because until they called you and found out what time the game started.
Thank
And
you.
I mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit of the frustrating part is, well, don't pat yourself on the back because you showed up for 5 minutes thinking you did something. When I've been covering this team for 6, 7 games the entire season, and then think you did something. So I think, and that's my rant and rave for the day.
Well, Chris, let me mention this also, okay? Because I've been to football games with Chris, basketball games, and some other things. But Chris is there the entire game.
Oh,
And when they're getting their 5 minutes of film and then someone's calling in a final score, whatever. Chris is actually there working. He's working the scorekeepers to make sure his stats and their stats are meeting. He's talking to the coaches. He's talking to the assistant coaches. He's up and down the basketball court as much as the players.
Yep.
Getting us into it. And I mean that.
And then the TV game, okay, there was something that WECT called, started it Friday Night Football. That was it, right? 11 o'clock is 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You can't stretch it out to midnight. 11 o'clock, all the mess has got to be in. And every reporter and every photographer in those days when we had, I think, 5 photographers on board, they're news photographers. We did not have anybody dedicated to sports. The sports guys did their own shooting. But we had 3 people in the sports department. We had 5 news photographers, and then we had reporters who could also shoot. And every week, the sports guys would look for volunteers in addition to those that were assigned. And sometimes I had to assign them, or the assignment manager would have to assign them to go out to cover 10 games throughout the region. It's not like coming to one team in Wilmington at the time. They would hit all the biggest and the best of the teams around. Those that were, as later in the season they got, the more they paid attention to certain teams that were on the road to a possible, tournament play. That's the way it ended up. But they had to go around and do that. Now, you're right. They get there, video, get somebody throwing a great pass, get a touchdown, get an extra point, hit the road, get to the next game. That one person may cover 3 games that night to get just enough video highlights, and then they had spotters out there calling in the information. That's the way most of that went down.
Chris has.
So it's a pain in the butt for either
It's a pain in
side.
the butt. And football, I think, is a different animal. I'm talking about more of those, I don't want to say lesser sports, but some of the other, like girls soccer, for example.
Sure.
I mean, just I'm not. High school football is just a different animal.
It's an animal. All unto itself. And itself.
We always did find it funny, and of course, I know you all didn't call it for me to, bellyache and rant and rave.
Yes, I did. That's what I like.
We always found it funny that on a, Friday Night Football for newspaper sports guys is just, like I said, a totally different animal. It is. There's times you don't get done with work till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
One night was 4 o'clock in the morning, because you just have a lot of stuff that you need to get in, and and then you have to put everything online, and so it's a lot of work trying to get all that information.
Well, Chris,
so,
it's a
uh,
whole lot easier today because all you got to do is take those pictures you take and upload them. You can do that straight from the field. Back in the day, when you had
Yep.
to be you had to be back at the newspaper, and good old Nelson Calhoun was over there waiting because he had to process his own film, yours and anybody else's who brought film in. Half dozen different people would bring film in, freelancers. And he's in the dark room processing all this stuff, and he's looking at the negatives while they're wet.
Mhm.
While they're
you had to
wet,
put them in water. Yep.
and you're looking at them while they're wet, and your contact sheets. What's that? No, you don't have time for that. He's looking at the negatives, and an experienced guy who can look at wet negatives and say, there's a shot. There's a shot. Click. You put a little hole in the edge of the frame, not in the picture area, but on the the little notches that were on the film on the sides that allowed you to advance the film on a camera. He would notch out one spot. That's the one he's going to print, and he would print 3 or 4 like that from that roll of film and keep on moving. That is how it was done in newspapers in the day.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have a sports question.
But we always
Sure
gave the
is.
news side people a hard time because on election night they would complain and bellyache about having to work up until midnight during election night, and they would get pizza and pizza and election night were always went hand in hand.
Yeah, I bought a lot of those stupid pizzas.
Fun times.
And then us in the sports department, are like, well, where's our pizza? Every Friday night for us is election night. Where's our pizza? And, well, you're sports. You don't matter.
Lee has a sports question.
Yeah, I do. Getting back to sports. No, the stories are great. I love listening to all the stories.
We're deflecting. Chris.
Yeah, you're deflecting away from area girls soccer is in like the 4th round now.
Yep.
What schools do we have? Area schools.
Yep, they are in the 4th round, and those 4th round games are tonight. Dixon is the only one at home. They're going to be hosting a school, Union Pines, tonight at 6:00 in their 4th round game. But the Jacksonville girls soccer are at Western Alamance. East Duplin High School girls are at Roanoke Rapids, and then Lejeune High School is at a school called Woods Charter in their 4th round game.
Where?
So we
Nice.
Woods Charter.
we have
Charter
4
gotcha.
areas high school girls soccer teams still alive, and like I said, Dixon's still at home. They'll be at home tonight. I'll actually be at that game tonight. So it's a fun time. School's winding down, and playoffs are. I mean, for a lot of these kids, this is it. So it really matters to them.
How about the lacrosse? Is that final now? Or are they still?
Well, we got we have a few lacrosse teams. The Swansboro girls are playing on Friday at J.H. Rose in their 4th round game, and then both the Croatan boys and girls lacrosse teams are at home on Friday in their 4th round game. So it's like I said, an exciting time, and my plan is to be at Croatan on Friday to cover those lacrosse games.
Nice.
And, it certainly is an exciting time.
I got an idea for you, Chris. Scary. I think that, and this is not for you to do or to promote, but I think that it would be wonderful for every school in the coverage area to give you a jersey from their school without a name on it, a shirt. And then you have your name stencil on that shirt. And at every game that when you're covering the Jacksonville Cardinals, you got a JHS shirt on, jersey on, and you've got your name there instead of the player's
You're
name.
going to put number 1 on all of them?
And number 1 everywhere,
yeah.
absolutely. Or ought 1 or whatever.
In my case, it'd be -1.
Well, you can put -1 down. But no, so wouldn't that, that would be the wisest thing that the schools could do in this area. Because you are a fixture. You really are a fixture. And there are a lot of people in the stands out there. They don't know you because your mug's not on TV every night. But wouldn't that be really cool?
Yeah. Well,
Let's
to be
promote
honest, several years ago, I started getting because every couple of years the coaches have to throw away old helmets because
Yep,
they're
yep.
out of condition and they're not safe anymore. So I got a collection. Now some of them have been updated. Some schools have updated their helmets, but I got in my garage, all 11 high school football, helmets in my garage.
Oh, yeah, good.
It's a neat little collection. I got a couple jerseys that were going to be thrown away and some other items. So it's I need to put everything together and make a little table or something like that.
Should.
But, it's a neat little collection, and it's a neat little collection.
Well, during all the games that we attend, when you're running up and down the sidelines, if you slow down a little bit so I know who you are, because sometimes you do blend in with the background. You understand?
Yeah.
And I'm not down on the sidelines trying to get, game-winning photographs or award-winning photographs. I'm just up there to update our Facebook page from time to time, and I'll shoot a bunch of pictures, and I try to find you. And when you're there, you end up on our page. You and John Kopka, Colonel Kopka.
Yes, we've put both many of a time on our page.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Chris is actually, for those that don't, he is in very good shape.
Oh, yes, he is.
If you watch him at a high school football game,
I know.
he's on the sidelines. He's running across the field. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say in really good shape, but one thing I do, I just enjoy being. We use high school football, for example, being on the sidelines. You can interact with the coaches, and as best you can, you can you feel a part of the game. But I will say, I'm on the sidelines, and I always pick the biggest guy to stand behind. So if the play comes in that direction, I stand behind him.
Absolutely.
And they get the collision and not me. So
You doggone right.
We call them the blockers, don't we?
Yes. Baseball. In baseball, you have to be in the dugout. During live play. When it's not live play, you can actually be on the field and getting close-up shots of like the pitcher and the catcher and the infielders. And that's the cool thing about the Ospreys is that you actually can be not in the actually on the field like in the infield, but when you're doing the Ospreys, you're standing right next to the third base coach because it's not a high school level league. You can you're there at your own risk. So that's pretty neat. But
down in the TV days, we had a privilege. If we were covering a baseball game, our sports guy could actually be on the mound out there with the pitcher, getting some really good shots.
Yeah.
Wrong.
When it's not live ball, you're allowed to do that. Now, like in places like Japan, they allow the photographers to be right outside the batter's box, like right next to the catcher, getting photos. Again, you're at your own risk, but they're right there in front of in front of the batter's box.
Those pitches come across there kind of wild at times, and you swing at that ball, and there's a reason that catcher wears all that protective gear. That ball is zipping.
I've seen
missile.
I've seen video clips of them being taken out.
Umpires, with all the gear, get hit and get hurt.
Every now and then they aim at the umpires. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, it's just like that hockey team where that player was actually suspended for all those games because he allegedly purposely mowed down the ref on the ice.
You mean old Toothless?
Oh my gosh, that video was crazy. You know which one I'm talking about, Chris?
Yeah.
That's Chris.
I'm a little familiar with that, and there are times when a player will. It's less obvious in baseball because you can get by with it, but there are times where a catcher will purposely move his glove out of the way for a pitch to hit the umpire if they don't like the umpire. And in other sports you can't. It's not it's pretty obvious that you're doing something unwise like that. But baseball,
I've seen a couple referees on the football field go down when there's some action that they get maybe a little too close to. That was a wicked laugh, wasn't it?
Chris, also, this is the time of the year where you generally put out a little message to remind all coaches and teams not to release any all-conference information until all teams in all sports are done?
Yeah, Yeah, you must have saw my my Twitter post I made the other
No,
day.
I don't know. I do not stalk
He
you.
is
I do
stalking
not
you.
read your Twitter.
Yes. What? You don't
No,
want Oh,
what they do is they release all conference teams at the end of the season. So the conference
Right.
that Jacksonville's in, they'll release who made all conference basketball, who made all conference baseball, so on and so forth. And I usually get the entire list of each season. The fall season, the winter season,
Right.
the spring season. Obviously at the end, because the coaches have to figure out what players on their teams are going to be all conference. Well,
right.
the procedure is that you're not allowed to release any of this information until the very last team is done playing. And the reason why they do that is because you don't want to release a basketball team's all conference if a basketball team is still playing, because the kids start worrying about, well, how come I didn't make all conference? How come I didn't do this?
Right.
And it becomes a big distraction, and then they lose focus, and then they lose the game. So it's a smart thing to do. But let's say all the conference baseball teams are done playing, but the girls soccer teams are still playing. Well, what some coaches will do is go ahead and release their baseball, for example, all conference list from their teams. Well, I know they're doing it in good spirit and good intentions, but you're still releasing a list that shouldn't be released until everybody's done playing. So that's it's been a little frustrating, and so every now and then I put up PSA about on social media, just reminding coaches that you can't be doing certain things. You have to be you have to wait patiently until everybody's done to release certain information.
Okay, there are people out there dying wanting to know who's going to be in the Super Bowl next year now.
Let's not even get there yet.
Yeah.
And we have Jacksonville starting up their baseball next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend.
Friday before June 1st. June 1st is
The
a Saturday.
Ospreys open.
Ospreys.
Yes.
Yeah, their home opener, which is their season opener, I think is May 31st. It's a Saturday.
Yep.
They are hosting in New Bern, South Hall. They're going to start practice like the 26th, I believe, which I know doesn't seems kind of silly. They only have a few days of practice before.
Oh, they practice. Those people are already seasoned players. Come on.
Yeah, they're already seasoned players, so they'll basically just use the first few days of practice to get to know each other. Some of the guys already know each other from last year, and playing against each other or playing with each other during the college season. But they'll get together and introduce each other and kind of get to know each other. And like you said, Rayford, all these guys are still in baseball shape.
Yeah,
so,
they're ready. They're ready.
Yeah, they're ready. They're so it's all about getting to know each other, and then they'll play a game August 31st.
All right, so
May 31st.
May 31st. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, now I'm changing the name of this segment.
What?
Sports Chatter with Chris Miller. What do you think?
The only place to get the real
Real Sports Chatter
Real
is
Sports
right here with Chris Miller.
And Chris, I want you to know that one of our frequent callers is commenting on YouTube
Uh-oh.
that he really, really likes you.
Oh,
He
good.
wants to ask a question, but I don't know. Anyway, he said
He wants your
that
number.
you have a
Just
huge
kidding.
following and that he likes you. You seem like a great family guy. So.
He is a great
he
family
is.
guy. I mean,
Yes.
we finally had the opportunity to meet his wife.
We almost destroyed that relationship. What are you talking about?
The kiss heard around the world.
We were like, Chris.
We caught Chris smooching with a woman at a ball game.
Yeah, we were like, we hope
Then we
that's
had-
your wife.
And then we went down to make sure it was your wife.
Mhm.
But it was okay. We got it.
We did. We were looking out actually for Chris and his wife. We were just making sure.
It was fun. Thank you, sir. We do appreciate it.
Always.
Good
All right,
talking with you,
thank you, my
Chris.
friends. Let me hang up before I get in trouble.
Yeah, again, you and I stay there. All right.
Take
Later,
care, Chris.
Bye. Chris is just all American.
He is. He's a
Yes.
great guy.
All
And you-
sports all the time.
When you talk about baseball, apple pie, you talk about Chris
There you
Miller
go.
too.
There you go.
That's Charlie. He wanted to ask Chris Miller a
Oh,
question.
you wanted to ask Chris a question. We can't put two of you on the phone at the same time, Charlie. But go ahead. I'm sure Chris will listen, and we'll get back to you. What's your question?
I absolutely agree. Just listening to him, I don't know. For all I know, he may be the worst human being in the world, but he sounds like a great human being.
He's great.
Yes,
He sounds very earnest. He just sounds like a very pure individual. He's like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do good things. I'm a human being. I'm going to do this. But I wanted to ask him because obviously all of you guys know the people in your local government, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
So I went on the Onslow administration government. I looked up the county manager very quickly. David Smithereen, assistant county manager.
Smitherman,
yeah. What's that?
Smitherman, yes.
Assistant county manager Janelle Golaway. County
Galloway.
Manager. You guys have a lot of county managers. Kari Sanders, Janelle. I think you only need one county manager. Then you've got Dallas Riley. So do you guys know these people personally?
Yes, and we're a very large county, and these others that you speak of, you got David Smitherman, who is the county manager, and then you have assistant county managers. We have a large county government.
Generally, assistant county managers will be dedicated to certain divisions. Onslow County has a lot of county employees, and you've got everything from mosquito control to, whatever public works there are,
zoning ordinances.
You got people who specialize in that, so they will hire a leader or somebody to manage that group of people. So that's what they're dedicated to do. They can step in and fill in. Sure.
I'm not a big, listen, I think listen, for all I know, all those names that I just mentioned in the history of politicians, they might be the best in the history of all politicians. My gut says that they're probably not. What exactly, if you had to talk to a 4-year-old and you had to say, hey, Charlie, this is what a county manager does. What does the county manager do?
Okay, I can take that one. First of all, let's get out of the part that they're politicians. These are not politicians. They're not elected by anyone. These are people who are hired by in the case of a county, they're hired in Onslow County by a majority of the 7 people sitting on that board of county commissioners. They hire generally the county commissioner. Generally the county manager. The county manager then seeks out individuals to be his lieutenants or her lieutenants, and then they will be approved. He will hire them on the condition that the county commissioners approve them as well. That's what the county manager does. He is a management individual overall. He carries out the wishes of the elected 7-member board.
Yeah, he's the chief administrator.
Can I cut you off?
You just did.
Does he or she have to adhere to those 7 individuals' wishes? Does that person
does not have to. They will fire him if he doesn't.
So this person is basically it's basically, hold on, what's the word I want to use? Hold on, you just said if this person does not adhere to those 7 board members, they can fire this person, correct?
Absolutely. A majority of them could move to fire him. But hold on, let me explain just a little bit. The county manager is also the person that works out the budget. He works with all of the heads of all of the departments in the county. Everybody in the county or in county government who have different positions doing whatever, different responsibilities, they will present what their needs are every year for a budget. How much money they're going to need, how many people they're going to need, what they need these people for, what they need all the money for, how is it going to be managed. They will present to the county manager what they want, what they perceive their needs are. The county manager will then take all of those needs from each of the individual departments and work out a proposed budget and present it to the county commissioners, who will either say yay or nay on it. It's a 6-month process to go through and do that. That's just the budget process. So that's what they go through, and they're wrapping it up for this year right now, by the way. But and if he will not, if they tell him, Mr. Smitherman, you need to do this and this and this, and he fails or refuses to do this and this and this, then they will likely do everything they can to get rid of him, fire him.
Well, so let me ask you this: what happens if the county? What happens if the people? Those 7 people are corrupt. Let's say 3 of them are corrupt.
Then we fire them.
Bribes.
Then we fire them.
Do they what, Charlie?
Well, let's say the 7 people in charge of this county manager. Let's say 3 of them are corrupt. Let's say they take bribes, but you don't know if they take bribes. Do all 7 people agree on everything with regard
No, absolutely not. I hope not.
No.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed,
Yeah.
and then
Majority
what happens?
rules.
Yeah.
There will be some basic consent items, we call them, or they call them consent items, that pretty much on any given day. I mean, let's just agree on that we will support red as our color of the week for whatever purposes. And all in favor, yay. Well, that's a done deal. And they may get somebody who likes blue, but you know what I mean. But, and
Hey, Richard, let me ask you a question.
hold on.
Why don't you run?
No.
Why don't you run for like the mayor?
because
or do something?
because I'm still sane, mostly. But
did you say you're still sane?
mostly, I'm still sane. Yes, but
I think that you know what? I think that you might be.
that's work. You think I'm at my age want to go to work? You've got to be
What are you going to
kidding
do?
me.
What are you going to do? You're only living until you die. So
Yeah.
just do it.
Why? It would take away from my fishing, my desire to sleep, take old geezer naps, from my time on the radio here, from my time on the ham radio. And if I want to get in my Jeep and I'm going to go down to the beach and sit on the beach and do nothing, I can do it. If I am a mayor, if I'm on the county commission, my dad was a county commissioner and a member of the school board, a total of 12 years. He also worked. He owned his own business, he and his brothers.
Well, okay.
That drove him up a wall for 12 years. For what? $12,000 a year?
What about Lee?
She's not
Lee,
saying.
what? I work behind the scenes. I work for.
What about you? You've got a nice, solid, smart voice. You don't seem like you're like a loose lunatic. You know, I call in all the time. You never start screaming or yelling at me. You seem very well mannered. You
Talking
seem like
about
you
you,
have
Chris.
like a unique perspective. Why
Oh, I
not
thought he
you?
was talking about me. No, you go right
Yeah,
ahead.
Charlie, this is Chris. You talking about Lee running?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't talking about me.
No, I've done my stint in politics, and right now I'm working behind the scenes for several people that are getting ready to toss their hat into the ring, and that's what I like doing. I like working.
Okay, I get it. Okay, but I will say this: Kelly has massive credentials. She's got so much education behind her. She's got so many. She has more titles than anyone that I've ever met in my life. And I love those titles because she puts the work in. But what about Kelly? Has she ever thought about
No, because Kelly knows that she'd end up standing up on top of the desk and telling everybody just where to kiss, because she's not going to tolerate some of the silliness.
Kelly, it doesn't matter what my online relationship with is. One of the things that I admire about her, she has so many titles. That means she went to school, she studied, she put the work in, she got these degrees.
Exactly.
I love it. I'm fascinated by her. But I don't know. You guys.
I don't even want to run.
I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave you with this. I just called into a show about a half hour ago, and they've got over, I think, 20,000 people.
Bless their
and
hearts.
they want all my calls. And I hate calling that show. It means nothing to me. This is the only show that matters to me. So I'll leave it at that. I don't know what my point is, but you guys have a good day.
You too, Charlie.
Bye, Chris. Bye, Charlie.
I don't get it.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I feel left out. I know you're getting ready to do the marine forecast. I feel left out. He didn't ask why.
A naval forecast today.
Okay.
No marine forecast. Just a naval forecast.
No, I'd rather hear what the Army has to say.
It's going to be dry and dusty wherever they are.
How about the Coast Guard?
For the Coast Guard and the Navy, it's going to be damp wherever they are. You still,
And the Air Force.
is it going to be high?
I don't know. I can't
Want
get
to
out of my
talk about
chair.
the space cadets?
Oh,
They're out of this world. The weather forecast for those of you who want to take a trip offshore, a little cooler and drier, high pressure. It's been building in, and we've got that right now. What's the humidity? Oh, only 86%, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Around here, it's been 99% lately. We do have a small crash advisory through this afternoon, beginning this afternoon through this evening. Northwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming southwesterly 20 to 25 with gusts to 30 knots this afternoon. 30 knots equals about 35 miles per hour. Got it? Seas 3 to 5 feet. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop, becoming rough later this afternoon. Tomorrow, westerly winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4. Kind of a nice day. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Northerly winds on Saturday 10 to 15. Becoming westerly in the afternoon. Seas only 2 to 3 feet. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop, and it will get even calmer as the afternoon wears on. Nice, nice, and nice.
I love it. Today, sunny with a high near 85. West winds 6 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 26. Tonight, mostly clear with a nice cool low around 58. Friday, sunny with a high near 79. Saturday, sunny with a high near 79. And Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 81. Get that grills out.
Ask me.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. You were talking about your dad and his public service. Did he have? But did he face the same? I mean, they're all on committees.
Yes.
They're all on committees. They have these meetings. They have the meetings before the meetings and stuff like that.
Yes. And the phone calls.
Yeah.
Basically, he needed a telephone. Huh? Charlie again?
Yeah, he said he forgot to ask Chris and he apologized.
All right, Charlie, you got to ask Chris something.
Chris, I felt very. Chris, first of all, I was not ignoring you. I'm all over the place right now.
I know that.
Researching other things. So, but I am curious. Why don't you run for office? And I'll leave it at that. That's my question.
Okay.
Take care. I'm going to hang up.
Okay.
Let me know.
And why would you not want to consider a stint, continue to serve the community, and perhaps a broader area, we know you have a passion for the Wreath Project. Let's just call it that. Yeah. We know that you have a passion for Crime Stoppers. There are likely some other, not lesser, but you don't dedicate as much time to in certain projects. But as a county commissioner or as a city council person or as a school board member, you're kind of school board members are probably one of the more direct people who confine their attention to the kids,
right? The
schools. But that's kind of broad too, because you got buildings that got to be replaced. You got buildings that got to be maintained. You got teachers to hire, teachers to fire, principals to look for, principals to fire. You got superintendents to select. You got the people out there. And who is the most vocal group of people anywhere in the country these days? The people who have kids, because they go to school board meetings and probably more security at school board meetings than any other government meeting. But I mean, just take those three.
Okay.
City council, wherever you live, county commission, school board, three important publicly elected positions, right?
Right.
Why would you not want to do those?
Well, I've been asked,
I'm sure,
20 years or so, why to please run for some of these. I got wise advice by somebody who said this: you actually, Chris, can do more for the community by being on the side where I'm at, which is to discuss with these political boards a different point of view, the public's point of view. Persuasion. I've never agreed. I don't agree with everything that they've done, and I've expressed logic and facts to do it. It's more beneficial for me to be on this side.
I feel like presenting your case, the case of the your interest, the people that you're dealing with here, presenting the case for wreaths across America.
Sure. Yeah,
is pretty important.
Very important. Yes.
You feel like you can carry a lot of weight as one individual when you walk into a board of 7, perhaps than if you're just one of those 7.
Yep.
I think you can.
I
know you do.
We look at the what's the county commissioners, the board of education. They're limited in they get their comments one time at the end of the meeting.
And not only that, they have to agree. They have to have another half. They got to have it a little bit more than one half of all those people sitting on that board to agree with them.
Yeah.
So,
No.
And you talk about comments, Chris, and I know what you're going to say, but I'm sure there's been many a time in some of those commissioners' minds where they just wanted to stand up during commissioner comments and tell a few people where to put it,
Sure.
but they have to realize they're there for everybody, which
they
they
have
do.
to do it
Mhm.
nicely.
And I think for the most part, they do a great job in their comments. Once in a while, I'll see, somebody that is really playing the political role big time.
We've seen that in the past.
But
too.
that happens. That happens everywhere. But for the most part, I think they do very well at maintaining decorum when they do their commissioner comments.
I'm happy working with charities and trying to achieve goals, not political, but Rayford, you two have been wonderful, as has Kelly with Reach Across America, in getting that out,
Mhm.
which is very important to me, especially this. I mean, Memorial Day weekend's coming up.
Yep, it should be
Um,
very important. We'll talk about it tomorrow too.
Yes.
Rolling Thunder and C5, they're going to be putting
Love
flags
them.
out. Yes, they're going to be putting flags out at the Veterans Cemetery. And yesterday got to go to Alms Memorial Park. Those people were very thankful that we're going to be out there putting wreaths
Oh yeah.
on as many graves sites as we can.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
But things like that. I'd rather do that, honestly.
Well, as an individual, you've got a whole lot of folks behind you that
Oh, I
you're
know.
speaking for every time you appear before the commissioners or a city council, or if you have to go to the school board. I don't think you've had to do that lately. have
No.
you?
Here's just a list of events you were talking about, Rolling Thunder, May 23rd, which is tomorrow.
Mhm.
Just make sure
Yeah.
we're still in May. They do the 8 p.m. candlelight vigil at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Saturday, May 24th, the New River Harley Davidson, the opening ceremony is their presentation of colors. The table ceremony, oh, that is so solemn.
Yeah.
And their speakers. And then from 10 to 5, they have the New River Harley Davidson open house, activities, food trucks, and vendors. And on Sunday, May 25th, is their main event, Ride for Freedom. So we went to that a couple years ago, Rayford, where they had the ceremony
Yep.
first, and they had the big 18-wheeler trucks out
Yep.
there that were all had the wrap on the
Yeah, they were
trucks.
cool.
Yeah.
That was gorgeous.
And we're going to be there Saturday for the Wreaths Across America.
Yes, yes.
Good.
Very good.
Let me tell you something personally, and I mean it from my heart. This program is community based. I know everything.
Are you
There's a
talking
lot
about us?
live and local real talk, and that's
Not just
one of the things
us.
I mentioned at the county commissioners meeting was live and local real talk,
Mhm.
because I wanted to thank the people that really stand behind it and push it.
Mhm.
And you two and Kelly have always been kind enough to push it and talk about it, and you behind it, and
Well,
the veterans really appreciate
you're
it.
doing your part. You have a method, you have a way, you have a talent to go out to talk to individuals out there and to groups of individuals and groups of and organizations, and then to go before county commissioners. We don't do the appear before county commissioners. We don't go out there and individually talk to people like you do. We try to reach them the way that I know how to do best, and I'm not good at what you do at all. I suck at that.
Do not.
No, you don't.
But to
you-
go out and talk to folks out there, I do. I
You
can
talk to
I can
them
do that
from
in
here.
here.
Yeah.
I can do that from in here.
Right.
That's
I was with you
why
one
we
day.
do it.
I
That's
was
why
with
we
you.
do it.
I was with you one day when you went and talked to somebody.
Who?
Earl. We went and talked to Earl. But
I'm
no,
gonna
you have
tell you a little bit about Earl.
you
in a
have
minute, too.
you have that way. Lee has that way.
It's because I don't know how to quit running my mouth. That's the problem.
She worked for the post office, and all she had to do back there was sit around and run her mouth all day long.
Well, you know,
What?
I had a chance to talk to our senator the other day, and I was just piggybacking off what Lee had started last year
Mhm.
for the wreaths, and I talked to our senator about it, and he's going to push again to try to help out. But don't underestimate your value.
Well,
Rayford, or Lee, yours.
We'll take we'll offer our abilities. Maybe we could get a grant since we're a nonprofit. Well, we're not legitimately nonprofit. We're just effectively nonprofit. What?
Yeah,
Y'all
I
got any
agree.
grants?
We are non-profit.
You got any money out there? Anybody
That's
wants to donate?
That's why Rayford and I only have $9.
That was it for the year, y'all. Each.
9 each.
No, we we got to have high-speed internet in here. We got 2 telephone lines in here.
Mhm.
You know what these microphones cost each? You should.
Oh, yeah.
They're about $400 each.
Yeah.
It's true.
Remember the old Sennheiser microphones?
Yes, there's
Yeah.
one over there somewhere. There's
Yeah.
one right. I mean, not that one. The
Wait.
one
This-
back over here.
okay.
That one.
Yeah.
We have a lot of equipment. Yes,
That's a
everywhere.
Sennheiser. It's a great mic, by the
Mhm.
way.
Spade. Yeah, it is.
But it does.
Charlie wants to write a sitcom off our podcast.
How much you going to pay us?
I think. Listen, I my gut says you guys are very normal, but my interpretation of you guys off camera, it's so bizarre. It's so wacky and disturbing. Not disturbing like in a bad thing, but there's just so many elements of your guys' life. I just think it would be funny when you show up in the morning as this public access broadcasting program. You get together, but after the camera turns off, what your real life is about.
I go into the
think it would
squirrel
be-
cage.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No. I really think I know for a fact that I could throw a twist on all 4 of you of who you guys are behind the scenes. I don't know.
Okay, who am I?
It's just bizarre. What's that?
Who am I, Charlie? This is Chris. Who am I?
I keep asking people, what am I? But
I'm Wonder Woman.
I would say, okay, I don't know who you are, Chris. You know what? I'll think about it and I'll get back to you. But
Okay.
there's some. Listen, I mean, everybody has a character behind the character that they present. I don't think it's anything like demonstrative or anything disturbing about you guys.
did he call me
I
a
just
monster?
think that there's weird. What's that?
You.
I think you called me a monster. Is that what I heard? You
I
called me
don't-
monster, right?
No, I said I don't think it's anything demonstrative.
I didn't hear that part.
Demonstrative.
I just heard demonster.
Yeah.
You're dumb.
I just think it's funny. I'm just fascinated by you 3 people living in, a little whatever middle America is. You guys are in middle America, but you guys collectively get together in a room, and you go on live, you go on camera, and you just present your, your thoughts on life.
Now,
I'm fascinated by what's that.
now, if we would just leave the camera on after the show is over, and for those who want to see behind the scenes, we usually take target practice in here afterwards.
Stop.
We've got targets on the wall over there that's just under the camera, and we just start shooting at it.
Yeah, but let me ask
He
you a
almost
question.
believes that, doesn't he?
Like Lee and Chris, hey, did you guys ever, like during your childhood, your youth, did you guys ever want to go into acting? Did you ever want to be like TV reporters? Did you ever want to be famous? Anything like that? Or did it just happen?
I played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet in junior high in a play. That's when my hair was way long and black. That was the only reason I got the part.
I did comedy.
Cool. What kind of comedy did you do?
Situational. Observational.
Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, hold on. Explain that to me, because I know comedy. What do you mean situational?
Everyday things that I see and
Like sitcom stuff.
Yeah, there's a joke. I mean, we're at the Naval Hospital in the pharmacy, and all these people are coming in to get medicines for broken arms, migraines, cuts, all this other stuff.
Comedy in this?
There is, because they're all given the same thing, Tylenol.
Yeah.
This is it. Just take care of this. Take care of this. So they have the commander of the Naval Hospital, and his picture's up there, but no name, right?
Right.
And all his underlings, no name, and they got one picture of a lady that handles customer relations, It's got her name, her phone number, her email address, where she lives, and everything else like that. Because she just all those complaints.
She's the one in charge.
Yeah.
She's the one that deserves the paycheck.
Yeah. You know, things like that.
Hey,
Pharmacists.
Chris, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to a comedy club and got in front of an audience and done like 5 or 6 minutes, like an act, an act?
Yes.
Have you really?
Yes.
Can you tell me that story? I'd love to hear it.
Well, it's a 6-minute stand-up comedy that I usually do sitting down, but no. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spend 5 minutes doing that. I tell them this before.
No. I'm not talking about right now online.
Yeah.
I could go on for the next 50 hours.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
Comedy, but I'm talking about, have you ever gone to like a comedy club and stood in front of an audience and did an act and did your bit?
Yeah, and I preface it with this: if you're offended by politics, news,
No, but can you tell me where it was? Where did you perform?
Charlotte.
Tell me the experience. What was
Charlotte, North Carolina.
So can you tell me? Okay, so you arrived at the club. What was the name of the club? No, I'm fascinated by this.
Oh
I'm
God,
not
I
trying to make
remember
you
that was
funny. I'm
20.
fascinated
That was 20 years ago. I don't
by it.
mean.
So what was the experience like?
It was fun. I had a good time. They had a good time. I didn't get booed. I didn't get heckled.
So
It's 'cause
was it
we
your
weren't
first time,
there.
or did you do it for many years before that?
Oh
Your first
no! I just do it spontaneously. Yeah, there's open mic. There's open mic.
It takes a lot of. I don't want to use the word balls because it's such an
Gumption.
overrated word. No, it takes. No. I tried it once. I was actually at the Improv in Hollywood, and I was. It doesn't matter. Actually, I was on stage, but I've written for TV shows. No, it takes a unique personality to get up on the stage, and there's 50 or 1,000 people in front of you to make them laugh. That's an amazing talent. That's a unique talent. But you guys are kind of doing that. You guys are online right now, and you're presenting yourself. You're putting yourself out there. You're doing like news, but you guys are funny. I have respect for you guys of what you're doing. It takes lots of balls to do what you guys do.
Charlie, I would dare say that if the four of us, including Kelly, if we were to sit down at a table, it just happened to be all of us sat down at a round table for lunch together one day, we would probably attract an audience, people not even knowing, if they were listening to our if they would do like I do with other people. I eavesdrop a lot. I'm a nosy person. But if they would eavesdrop and just pay attention to what we're doing, they would say, God, that sounds exactly like they do on the air. Because that's about the way we are. We are natural. We don't put on anything. I prepare some stuff here because I can't remember all the stuff that I look at all night long from yesterday and whatever. But I do a little prep so I'll have something to deal with this morning. And sometimes I talk about it. Sometimes I don't talk about it. But this is just the way we are. Yeah. Period. We mesh. We gel. That has not always been the case in my case, and I've been doing this particular show since 2011, and right. I've had a number of individuals who have been sitting in these other chairs. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Cut you off? Hold on.
You already did. Go ahead.
You've been doing this since 2011?
Yeah, 1 November 2011. Not that I'm counting the exact date, but yes.
So how long has Lee been in your stable, and how long has Kelly been in your stable?
I got two girls in my stable now. That just opens up a whole can of worms. We had that problem one day. Let's see. You were coming in as a guest.
That's when I was chairman of the GOP.
Right. Yeah.
And you would invite me in to discuss something that was happening politically. Mm-hmm. And then after that, there came to where it was just you and Kelly. And then Kelly, with her job, had to be off a lot. And so she would ask me to come in. And then after you got sick, I just said, you know what? I'm coming in every day until you chase me out the door. Because we never knew day to day. You were out for what, a month almost?
No.
2-3. I don't know. I get the trip to
I was out for 8 days.
to
in
the
hospital.
Bel Air Beach. What was it?
Oh,
Belize?
I was gone there for 3 weeks.
Yes.
But I was not in the building. I was
That
just,
was 3 months.
from vacation, I carried the computer with me, and I was
You
able to
did,
join
you
the show
did.
every morning by computer, just like I was here.
Before you went underwater.
You did.
Yeah, on my way to getting underwater.
Yeah, I just ended up staying. And then I go out and sell advertisement and try to book guests and stuff like that, Charlie. So that's just what I do.
I don't know. I've said this many times. I don't get why you guys don't have massive viership. I don't get it because
We've not pushed it.
You don't have to push it.
Yes, we do.
No.
To do that, you have
to happen organically.
to do that.
Something
You
has to happen. You know what?
no,
I used to
Charlie,
make-
you're not understanding. On Facebook and YouTube, okay, both of those outlets, they have some throttles. Honestly, that they will build in. I know it. They deny it. But one of the things you probably have determined, I'm a relatively decent investigator, and I do know that they have throttles. They get engaged from time to time, and suddenly we don't show up. We're not in the search engine. I don't care what kind of words we put out there. Nobody knows unless they know where we are at a specific time. Those who know, they stay. Period.
I mean, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you guys right now on
I'm
YouTube,
sorry.
and you have eight people watching. That's what it says on YouTube.
By the end of the day, there'll be probably well over between the 500, Rayford, when
500,
we go
600,
into the
700,
back office.
Okay, now
I don't get it.
here's the other
I don't
thing.
get it.
Those in the morning around here, we had a good promotional tool for both. It was a cross promotional tool, but we were actually on a broadcast radio station. Okay, and we're going to get a big back there again. We're still negotiating. And I'm going to tell both of these folks something that I found out yesterday as soon as we get off the air. But we're working to get back on the broadcast station. Why? Because between 7 and 9 o'clock around here in the mornings, that's when most of the people who are going to be listening are listening. And they're listening not online, but they're listening over the radio. Over the radio, we are a mobile community. You got to understand there are 50,000 Marines out here that go to work every day early. They don't go to work when the bankers go to work. They're already through half their day, but they're on the radio, on the road, listening in the mornings. We know that because we were there.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And that's a fact.
There's my comedic mind is a little probably more twisted and dark and disturbing than your guys's. But there's an old show. It's not old. Obviously, you guys knew who Howard Stern is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Didn't have any respect for him at all.
So when Howard Stern was famous, there was another show called Opie and Anthony. There's a lot of independent shows. You might want to Google WABC New York. WABC New York.
77 WABC.
I just want to be a Ben and Jerry's.
WABC New York. It's kind of a conservative show out of New York, but they syndicate to many different markets. And you might want to send the general manager or the owner a quick email and say, listen, we're a little station out of North Carolina. We discuss, middle America stuff. We talk, politics, this, that. You never know. They might call you back and say, you know what? We kind of like you guys. Let's just throw you on our platform. We're not going to pay you at first, but let's see what you can do for us. I think it's a platform that you guys would find appealing. Just Google it. It's WABC New York.
Okay.
And they've got they got different races and cultures, and but they have one guy who's a brilliant comedic genius. His past, whatever. I think you should Google it and just send the general manager a quick email and just say, hey, listen, Any thoughts on this maybe being a part of your lineup? You never know.
Mhm.
I think you guys need a good sales team to promote your brand. That's just my opinion.
You mean somebody I got to
Okay.
pay?
Explain.
Oh,
I got a bunch of stuff we need to talk about.
okay.
Okay.
I was just going to say, someone just commented that a lot of her friends listen.
And they listen later in the day.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily listen
Well,
in the
there are
morning.
two things there. First of all, the 8 or whatever you're seeing on YouTube, I do not know how YouTube works as well as I know how Facebook works, because Facebook is the one that I've done background stuff on, and I became a little intimate about their background stuff because I was sneaky. And the people that do not want to show up as watching us right now on Facebook, they have an opt out. They can opt out, and we do not know that they're watching or who they are. There is that ability for a lot of folks to do that. Now, we do know that certain individuals in this community will do that because they don't want anybody to know that they're watching.
Yeah, there's a certain way that you can actually watch it without clicking on it.
Yes.
Because once you click on it, it shows that you're watching. But there are ways that you can watch, and it doesn't take those into account.
That's
But
right.
anyway,
Hey, Lee, can you take a look at the link that I just put up on the chat room? Did you see that?
He's on YouTube.
I'm looking. I don't see it yet. Let me refresh my YouTube.
While she,
Research your page.
while Lee's doing that, this section is being session of this part of the show is being brought to you by Jernigan's Ultra Steam.
Leave my lotion alone. I
They
always
need to
bring
pay
in
us.
little
Okay.
stuff too. My hands get dry.
That's good stuff.
You
It
see
is.
And every time, you want to know why Chris comes in here on a regular basis, because he buys donuts by the gross.
Yeah.
Right. Every other day he gets
By the
100
gross?
a
You
gross.
say by the gross?
You don't know what a gross is? What's a gross? Would
The
you like
dozen. The dozen. He buys them by the dozen?
a gross is 12 dozen.
Okay, I don't see it, Charlie.
144 quantity for. So anyway, he overs in here so that I will eat them every day because he wants me to be fatter than I am now. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. I
We
love
need
them.
a Santa. We need a Santa Claus for something at Christmas.
Yeah, I'm working up. I'm getting Santa Claus weight on,
Oh, smell good.
preparing for Christmas.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, that's enough for the lead. We do have a couple more things to go.
Hold on. Before you cut me off, I think I'm going to give you guys some good advice. So, Lee, you don't see what I posted in the chat room? It says WABC Radio.
Oh, I see it now.
Okay.
Just popped
So
up.
Yes.
click on that link. Here's what I would do if I was you guys. Click on that link. If you go to the website, it's American flag everywhere. They're very conservative, but they're syndicated. I think that they might like your show because
Okay.
it's like a simple, pure show. So here's what I would do if I was you guys. You can click connect, send them an email, and say, "Hey, listen, we got an online show. Any thoughts on maybe us like filling in on Saturday morning from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m.?" They
No,
might respond.
no. Rayford's not even saying a word.
No. You can tape it right now, but they may just like put it on from 4 a.m. to 6
Oh,
a.m.
okay. They can just take the
Yeah,
best
you don't
of the
have to-
week then.
Yeah. Guys, trust me. I know what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
Okay. I've got it up
All
right
right.
now, and we'll take
Thank
a
you,
look
Charlie.
at it.
Thank you, Charlie.
Then we've got to go
Guys,
on to
I'm
other
not-
news.
I know what I'm talking about.
All right, Charlie, you have a great one.
Thanks,
Okay?
Charlie.
Thanks, Betty.
Wow.
The network reporters out there today not able to come up with a story to advance the cognitive issues story about Joseph Biden. I'd love y'all to either call us. That's my preference. But you can send a Facebook message and Lee will get it and tell us whether you have doubts that Biden has issues and that they were covered up. Did Biden have cognitive issues? Does he still have cognitive issues? But during the presidency, did he have cognitive issues that were covered up? But what's the story here?
He did.
Do any of you really, does anybody out there really, do you forget about partisan politics for just a minute? And do you not believe that he had, and some way probably still has issues that affected his performance as president of the United States? Is there anybody realistically that believes Biden did not have cognitive issues that impacted this country for 4 long years? I'm thinking that this is an old story because he ain't president anymore. So why is it in the headlines every day, above the fold? And that beating a dead horse is time wasted, in my opinion. If you have info that would reveal a conspiracy to keep that knowledge from the American population, then I might be interested enough to give you a pass. But just revealing it won't be enough. I believe he had issues. I know for a fact that he had issues in my own head. And I know for a fact that it likely impacted the presidency. I know that we all had to pay the price to some degree. If you don't believe that, look at the number of illegals that we now still have to feed in this country because of the Biden presidency. But that's being taken care of. We don't need to beat that dead horse. Just revealing it is not enough. It can't be done in installments, a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow. If it's true, who was behind this conspiracy to keep it from us? How widespread was this cover up? Hello. Did anything happen while hiding the issue that is going to impact us or other parts of the world in the near future or distant future? Did the conspirators put any safeguards to keep us out of a nuclear war? I mean, the president can start that ball rolling, right?
Yeah.
He can't do it by himself, by the way.
No.
That's a fallacy. Have any elected or appointed leaders at the highest levels been able to undo any damage that was likely done during this time? This one's important. Have safeguards been put into place today that will make absolutely sure that nothing like this ever happens again? As the journalist that you guys claim that you are, instead of just going out for some salacious headlines, how will you do your job in the future? Will you make any changes? We dodged, I hope we dodged it, a bullet, but it's going to take a lot of work to protect the future based upon the last 4 years. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I think they're putting things in place to make it.
I would like, now that is what I would like to see a reporter say. Mr. President Trump, what have you done to make sure we do not have to deal with that again in the future? Madam Bondi, our Attorney General, you are the legal eagle in this whole mess. What has been done to make absolutely sure that the FBI does not, as it did, including during the Trump or first Trump years, do not do nothing about criminal activity of a national level? What are you doing to make sure that never happens, Madam AG? For Mr. Patel, you've started, you're doing a good job on the surface at this time. How deep are you going to dig? And will you adhere to all of the rules of all of the U.S. codes? That's like general statutes, y'all, on the federal level. The U.S. codes to make absolutely sure a fair and impartial investigation is done into allegations of wrongdoing, regardless of who the offending parties are. And that information will be sent forthwith, without editing, to the Attorney General of the United States. And tell me again, and tell me every day for the rest of your time, Mr. FBI Director, that you nor anyone else in the FBI will say, no, there's nothing to prosecute here. That is not your call. Your call is to gather the evidence to support or no evidence to support and then you send that to the AG. You do not make that decision. When I hear that, then I'll feel better. I'm not feeling good yet. I'm feeling less worse.
A thing from the one. Let's start with the health point of the president.
Yeah.
You think back during his first term, Trump took many cognitive tests. Joe Biden refused to take cognitive tests. At least we were told that.
He was advised not to take them.
Yeah. You got to question that. Why?
You got to the same thing. You got to question a guy who refuses to take a breathalyzer test.
No.
Same thing, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Does he have a legal right? Absolutely. We got sovereign citizens that say, "I got a legal right not to even give you my driver's license."
Don't even say sovereign.
But they've got the claim that they can deny this. Why?
Right.
No, we don't have a right to say, "Why don't you do it?" We got a right to take further action if necessary, if warranted.
Right.
But they have the right not to identify themselves except when they're driving a car. You got a car, you got to identify yourself if you're driving. And you do not, the officer who asks you for your driver's license does not have to tell you why he stopped you.
Just obey the officer.
Seriously, that's the way it is.
Be polite. Show him what he needs.
Now, let's go to Duplin County for the close out here. Tragedy. No can strike with no warning.
Yeah.
As it did a little over 24 hours ago in Duplin. WITN TV reports that a man and his wife died in a head-on collision near Magnolia. That's in the Duplin community out there. A little after 8 o'clock yesterday morning, 72-year-old Samuel Tucker and his 69-year-old wife, Reva, were in a pickup truck heading east when troopers say it was struck by an SUV that was westbound. Somebody was in the wrong lane. Troopers say Miguel Arellano's Explorer ran off the right side of the road. He overcorrected, as so many people, almost everyone does, and his action caused the car to come back onto the road, and then it crossed into the other oncoming lane. The 32-year-old Arellano was taken to a local hospital, serious injuries. Troopers say he was not wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, shame.
Okay, now comes the time for me to ask questions.
Excuse me.
He's charged with misdemeanor death by vehicle. We got that. No operator's license. Ding, ding. Driving left of the center line and seatbelt violation. I do not have any other facts or details in this case, not yet. A couple of red flags popped up. He has no driver's license.
Yeah.
He has no driver's license. Is there anyone who doesn't know that everyone in the car must wear a seatbelt? Because he's charged with that too. I don't have an address. That wasn't in the public news release for Arellano. I'm pretty sure one is included in the record report. If I get bored, I'll request a copy of that because I want to know. I could not find any criminal convictions in North Carolina for this young man. He does not exist in the public records.
How do you purchase a vehicle without a driver's license?
Don't know.
How do you even get it off the lot without insurance?
You can purchase a vehicle without a driver's license. My very first vehicle, I saved up my money.
Another century.
I bought it, and I didn't even have my driver's license yet.
Oh.
And that's what I used to get my driver's license to take my test in.
So you drove it illegally to the driver's license office?
No, my mother drove it for me.
Was the car registered in your name?
Yes, it was. It was registered in my, well, when I purchased it, it was registered in my name. My mother brought it home for me. It sat in the driveway, and it was time to get my license. She took me in my vehicle to get my license. I got my license, and then.
Okay.
But yes, you can purchase one without.
Well, you could then.
Yes.
I was just thinking, 32 years old, you did. I mean, I went and bought a truck. I had to give my driver's license, insurance, yada, yada, yada. Before I ever drove it off the lot.
That's right. Today, that's the rule.
Sadly,
Was his car registered in his name? I do not know.
I don't know.
I don't know those details yet. See, those are questions. It could have been registered in his wife's name, or if he's got one,
Very
or
good.
it could have been registered in Jose Inglala's name. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody legally owns that car, or this person would have been charged with that offense as well, I would think. I will pursue, because I'm nosy, I'm curious. 2 people are dead.
Yeah.
If you understand,
Tragic.
72-year-old man and a 69-year-old wife from Duplin County in their pickup truck, 8:20 in the morning yesterday.
Mm.
They were still there at the scene at this time yesterday morning. You understand that?
Right. That's horrible.
Head-on
Absolutely
collision.
sad.
A guy who drove off the road, slipped off the road on the right, pulled back on, as so many people do, and they overcorrect. They overcorrect all the time. Ended up in the oncoming lane. Hit head on. 2 dead. He has no driver's license. Red flag.
More to come. I'd be interested.
I'm not going to let this one die.
Thank you.
Well, I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about locally, but we can do that tomorrow. With the exception, tonight is Coffee with a Cop. And meet the chief of police, and
Oh, goody.
it's
I
at
don't
the
like
parish hall at Infinite Rock.
is.
I'm sure Chris will be there, and it's 5 to 7.
Can they have a Mountain Dew with the cop? With the
Sure.
If they want one, we'll give them one.
Instead of coffee, I don't like coffee.
If they want
I
one,
don't drink that, man.
Yeah.
we had a
Take
meeting.
whatever you want.
We had an event last night that I was, quote, in charge of the catering and stuff, but we had soda products, we had coffee, we had water, we
Okay,
had
well,
lemonade.
now, wait a minute. At the Catholic Church, you can have, because wine is a big deal there, right?
Yeah.
Just asking.
You have wine and crackers.
Yeah.
Wine and crackers.
Little cheese with it,
we
too.
wine here all the time, so it's all right.
Glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, I know. I picked up on that.
Yes.
Okay, we will see you tomorrow. We have no one scheduled at this point in time. If you have a desire to come in here, if you've got an
Please,
event,
come
a
in.
public service, or
Right.
you've got something else you want to just rant and rave about, bring it on. Just
Bring it on.
and you know, I do not have a sign on the door that says no guns allowed. But you better keep it holstered if you bring one in here. Unless you really need it. And then
Why are we
if
even
somebody comes in
talking
and starts shooting, then you be
Why?
careful with what you aim at, okay? Don't aim at me.
Why?
Why?
Because he
Why
has,
are we
he has
even
this big
talking
screen.
about it?
He has this big screen protecting him.
There's a Kevlar right behind that. You realize that?
Yeah, but you're behind there. We're up here,
Well, just
closer to
all I
the door.
suggest you do is duck.
Stop, drop, and roll. I learned that at the post office.
You're rolling. That's for fires, people.
I learned that at the post office.
That's when you're caught on fire.
Stop, drop, and roll. No, that's our model down there. Stop, drop, and roll under that case. Heck yeah. We don't go postal for nothing.
I thought postal was a fallacy. I thought going postal was one of those things that was a figment of somebody's imagination. Okay, we're going to be gone.
All right.
And we
gotta
will
go.
see you bright and early tomorrow
Yes.
morning. Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank
day.
you, Charlie, and everyone else. And yeah, it would be great if we were famous, but I don't really. We don't.
Well,
do that.
I was looking. That's
then we would have
internet
to
radio.
behave ourselves.
I know.
And I don't want to do that.
Knows
Then I
we
have to
can do
dress
that.
appropriately, and we'd have to wear pants, Chris.
Oh my
Mhm.
goodness.
Oh, I can't stand that.
Oh, breaking news. A small plane crashed into a San Diego neighborhood, setting about 15 homes on fire
Ouch.
and leading to evacuations along several blocks.
Breaking news.
Just broke.
Where's that?
San Diego,
About
California.
6 a.m. in the morning, they're
What-
sleeping still.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
was that? Just happened, or was that?
It just happened. It
Or
was
just
just
reported?
posted, by the news media at 8:54. It was just posted, and they said that,
But it's not something that happened last night.
no, this just happened.
Okay. All
Prayers
right.
for 'em.
Sad, sad, sad. Oh, somebody's up early. I wonder what kind of small plane it was. Private or 6 o'clock in the morning. It's kind of early to be up for people.
Well, I'm
who
sure
just
we can delve
fly
further
around.
into
I mean, I
it,
used to
so.
go there. I was sitting.
Out for delivery. Oh, the cat food. I ordered cat food for the shelter. It's going to be delivered today.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
4
good.
cases of it.
Our little kids.
4 cases. Yeah, 3.
We'll see you in the morning. You're live and
All
local
right.
Real Talk, where we are always awake, never woke. And have a great rest of your day and be safe, okay?